Hola people! Well, still here in the beautiful island of Chiloe. Let's give you a little view. Look at this view. Unbelievable. Some fruit. Just beautiful location. Our quirky little Barbie hotel over there. Lord knows how we found this place, but I'm up here in this sort of deserted section, catching up on all of the media that I'm supposed to have done over the last Lord knows how long. But it's time to tell you the story from the caves. Leaving Puerto Rio, I get that wrong around every time, Puerto Rio Tranquilio, heading up through Coyhaique and on to Chiloe. We're going to hit some mega gravel, and let's tell you all about it. We've got some great footage to have a look at. And the next stage of the journey, like I say, was out of Puerto Rio Tranquilio and across the massive mountains of Nevado Queulat. Oh, my pronunciation's not good. I need to go back to school and learn some Spanish, it would appear. And head now over the massive mountains of Nevado Queulat and down into the Coyhaique Valley for an overnight stop. The road out of town was pretty tranquil, really. Mainly easy, nice gravel, sure some dust, traffic, always traffic on these roads, some animals, always animals. And now that usual central Patagonian moto travel thing. Gas open roads, great scenery. It was a short day ride and passed without pretty much an event. We arrived in Coyhaique, and Coyhaique turned out to be an epic geological location. A real head trip for anyone that's into granite, into rock climbing or the outdoors like I am. And it turns out this corner of Patagonia has one of the largest set of granite batholiths anywhere in the world. If you don't know, a batholith is a giant mass of igneous rock that's formed when magma collects and cools deep in the Earth's crust underground without being exposed to the surface. It cools very slowly into a giant bubble and creates a huge continuous chunk of granite. You've probably heard of several of these. You may not know they are batholiths. A very famous one, obviously, in the Sierra Nevada, the batholith there in Yosemite National Park. Half Dome, pretty significant, been there. If you've been following any of the previous editions, you'll have seen our journey through the US down to Texas last year when we actually came through there. Great, beautiful place. The journey out was about 430k from the granite megatown of Coyhaique, which turned out to be some of the most amazing, picture-perfect valley riding I've ever seen. Ultimate moto weather, sun out, cool breeze, no traffic, just peachy. But what a spot for a signature Special Coffee Boys drive-by shot. What a morning. John and I looked at each other and just said, this is what we came here for. And the rock, it just seemed to go on forever. You just got to stop and stare at this stuff. One of the largest untapped, untouched granite areas in the world. Still loads of first ascents ready to be had. And Alan, if you're watching, oh boy, we got to come here one day. Great climate, friendly people, and just granite everywhere. Just amazing. So after a gas stop, probably the smallest and most amazing location for a gas station in, I'm going to try and get this one right, Coyhaique, it was time for a change in bike setup, back to off-road mode, and time for some of the most unreal gravel riding I've ever been on. And the fun starts with a climb up to about 3,000 feet over the pass, kind of like riding into Jurassic Park. Ferns growing man-high, and the air, it was just sort of noticeably more humid. You were kind of expecting a T-Rex to leap out. And on the top, it's time for the tarmac to end and the serious gravel to begin. And when I say serious gravel, I mean serious gravel. And freaking miles and miles of it. Tight, twisty trails that are almost like trials riding, just slow round the corner. And quite a trick on a bike that weighs over 400 pounds, and with 70 pounds of luggage, a bottle of Johnny Walker and me, let's just say tricky. Let's just say tricky. And some of the corners, cars, buses, and believe it or not, cyclists, serious gravel hound cyclists, pounding it up this down thing. Just serious stuff, and in fact, sadly, serious enough that apparently 2 cyclists may have died on the road that day. So super sad to hear about that, and I don't know what happened, but having been there and seen some of it, I can imagine how something did. But what a day of gravel. Best ever. Anywhere. Just crazy, flat, blasting sections. Bring it on. Open the gas. Just love that throttle feeling on gravel. Oh, just fantastic. But all gravel must come to an end, I guess. It looks like they're starting the process of paving it. So maybe we're some of the last to explore this. And the pavement must come, inching its way up, season by season, up into the valley and up into the mountains. The gravel does end, on one side anyway. Best stay focused, stand on the right side of the road. But what a day. At the end of that day, John and I just looked at each other and said, wow, couldn't be any better. Northern Patagonia, on the bike, just speechless. So the next day, it was off to Chiloe Island, where we are now. I'll tell you the story of that ride, another epic day on gravel, ferry ride out here to Chiloe, beautiful little island. We'll catch that on the next edition. I'll get that out as soon as I possibly can. So keep listening, keep watching, subscribe, like, share, do all that good YouTube stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one.